In today's video, I want to go over a brand new PlayStation 4 JRPG that has just been revealed, and I personally am incredibly excited for it. It is the next mainline entry into the Legend of Heroes series. It's starting off a brand new series, or I don't know exactly how you want to define it. Trails of Cold Steel has ended, but this is still in the Trails series. But this is the kickstart to the conclusion of the Trails of series, so that is pretty interesting, and we'll talk all about that. Also, Resident Evil is in its final adjustments, will be more action-oriented, and we'll look at details about that. Darwin project is on its way over to the PlayStation 4 and it's dropping in January 2020. We'll talk that at the end of this video, but first up, the Legend of Heroes Hajimari no Kisuke has been announced for PS4 and it's due out in summer of 2020 in Japan. Now, if you don't know what Hajimari no Kisuke means, it's Trails of the Beginning for the PlayStation 4, and it's noted to be an ambitious title and turning point that will lead to the series' conclusion. Now, I don't think it'll be the end of Legend of Heroes, but the Trails of games have been around for quite a while. We had Trails in the Sky, and then of course we had Trails of Cold Steel, and now we have Trails of the Beginning, and this looks to be the most expansive Legend of Heroes title yet, and we'll go over all the details about the game, and there are some spoilers, so I'm gonna read the part of the description that doesn't give away any distinct spoilers, but nonetheless, it notes the Legend of Heroes Hajimari no Kisuke features plenty of new systems that utilize the strengths of the Trails series, including a cross-story system that allows players to switch between 3 routes at will to depict stories happening in parallel from different perspectives. Over 50 playable characters, including some new faces, and expansive episode scenarios that delve into the backgrounds of each character. If you thought Trails of Cold Steel was a story-deep game, this looks even more so in that element, and it looks like they're going completely guns blazing to make sure they develop the best story possible to conclude the Trails of series. There's a lot more details, but I don't want to go over everything just because there are some spoilers. We don't even have all of Trails of Cold Steel over here in the West. Of course, we just had Trails of Cold Steel 3 that dropped back in October, but we're still waiting on Trails of Cold Steel 4, which does wrap up Trails of Cold Steel, but Trails as a whole is of course connected. So click the link from Gamatsu in the description box with discretion advised, just because again, if you have yet to play the games, you might get a couple of specific spoilers, but I am very much excited for this. I know that going into next year, there's already a plethora of JRPGs. I've mentioned it before, but games like FF7 Remake, Persona 5 Royal, you've got Tales of Arise, you've got Project Relink, Grand Blue Fantasy Project Relink that is. There are just so many top tier Japanese RPGs in development, and while I doubt that Trails of the Beginning will be coming stateside in 2020, it will probably come in, 2021, 2022, and at that point, I do think it's a game that a lot of people are going to want to check out, because at this point, I think Trails of is just building up that groundswell of hype, and a lot of people are recognizing how good of a JRPG franchise it is. I've been touting it for quite a while now, going back to early this year when Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 were dropping on the PlayStation 4. I've been talking highly about the series. It's just so good. I know the visuals aren't anything to write home about when you compare it to a game like Final Fantasy 15 or the FF7 Remake. However, this is a game that really relies on its storytelling and its character development, and I put the Legend of Heroes among any game, not just any JRPG, any game in terms of high-quality character development and high-quality storytelling. Trails of Cold Steel was absolutely at the top, and the Legend of Heroes in general has just been really good in that regard, so I'm happy to see that the series is gaining more and more success. Hopefully over here in the West, it continues to garner more and more success. We know that Trails of Cold Steel 3 will soon be dropping on Nintendo Switch. I imagine it's coming to PC as well. And the more platforms these games come out on, the better it is going to be for everyone involved. I want these games to be played by more people, because at this point, it is really at like that third tier of JRPGs. I would say the top tier are games like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy from a recognition standpoint. In that second tier, you've got games like Persona. Maybe right below that, you've got games like Tales of and Project Relink. And then below that, that's where really Legend of Heroes and Ys kind of fall into the equation. And I want to see Legend of Heroes kind of rise up the ranks and really be heralded as one of the best JRPG franchises around, because I do believe it's absolutely that. Alright, so enough rambling about that. A game that we are going to be seeing in early 2020 is Resident Evil 3, and it is noted to be in its final adjustments and will be more action-oriented. Capcom revealed new details on the upcoming remake of Resident Evil 3 in this week's Famitsu magazine through an interview with producers Masao Kawada and Peter J. Fabiano. Noted by DualShockers, in a nutshell, Resident Evil 3 is about showing the beautifulness and strength of Jill Valentine and the dread of the Nemesis. While Jill's design has changed a bit to to fit with how the game is more action-oriented than the original, the team kept in mind she's one of the most popular protagonists of the series and made sure to not change her image all too much. Carlos looks different too, but he still has the same hot-blooded personality. If you missed the original designs, they're included as a pre-order bonus DLC for the game, so that's a pretty nice incentive as pre-order bonus DLC. We also learned through the Famitsu interview that Resident Evil 3's development is pretty much complete. Kawada promised the game definitely won't be delayed from its April 2020 release. Capcom is currently handling the final adjustments of the game, and these are nearly done too at around 90%. This remake will be overall more action-oriented than the Resident Evil 2 remake, all while keeping the charm of the series intact. The story in Resident Evil 3 will be starting before the beginning of RE2 and end after its ending. RE3 will also have more changes compared to its original game than what Capcom did with RE2. Pretty interesting all around. So Resident Evil 3 is going to feature more adjustments than Resident Evil 2, and I think that's interesting in the sense that we already saw what Capcom did with a very, very faithful remake. I want to see what Capcom can do with the remake when they are shifting a little bit. Let's see what game turns out better. Resident Evil 3 was a great game back in the day, but I don't think it would be too crazy in saying that Resident Evil 2 was the better received Resident Evil title. So now in 2019, heading into 2020, what's going to be the better received remake? Is it going to be RE2, which was already received very, very well? Or is it going to be this Resident Evil 3 remake that is in its final stages of development, and it will be coming April of 2020, and it will be shifting a little bit from the original game? It's all exciting information. And of course, with Resident Evil 3, its multiplayer mode, Resident Evil Resistance, will be coming with it, and it's hitting the PlayStation 4 on April 3rd, 2020. Pre-orders are open right now. And lastly, I do want to note that Darwin Project hits the PlayStation 4 in January of 2020. Currently, the game is available in Steam Early Access and Xbox Game Preview. First launched for PC via Steam Early Access and Xbox One via Game Preview in March of 2018, Scavenger Studio will officially release class-based Battle Royale title in Darwin Project for PlayStation 4 in January 2020. Darwin Project takes place in a dystopian post-apocalyptic landscape in the northern Canadian Rockies. As preparation for an impending ice age, a new project, half science experiment, half live entertainment, is launched. It's called Darwin Project, and it challenges 10 participants to survive the cold and fight to the death in a treacherous area. The game notes a spectator experience. Through the spectator experience extension, viewers can impact each Darwin Project match in several groundbreaking ways. Cast votes to choose the target of a power activated by the show director, place bets on which inmate or team they think will emerge victorious, bid for powers normally reserved for show directors, and unleash them in a private match. The show director is also an element of the game who is a living bridge between the players and spectator. He or she is the host and master who controls the area with nuclear bombs, zone closures, gravity storms, and power of their voice. This could be a real tool of self-discovery, the start of your new career as a charming but deadly game show host. And lastly, you have dynamic tactical gameplay with survival elements. Gather resources, craft tools, upgrade your gear, track your enemies, engage in both melee and range combat, and be the last inmate left alive. They dropped an announcement trailer to showcase that the game is coming to the PlayStation 4 in January of 2020, and I know some of you guys are kind of overloaded on Battle Royale titles. However, Darwin Project does look rather interesting, and it is a brand new free-to-play game, so it's not like it's asking for any of your money like, say, a game like PUBG. A lot of Battle Royales are free-to-play: Fortnite, Apex Legends, H1Z1, whatever the case may be. But hey, adding another free game to the PlayStation 4 library, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong about that. Let's just hope the game delivers when it does drop next month. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, a major JRPG announced for the PlayStation 4 in the Legend of Heroes Hajimari no Kisuke, or Trails of the Beginning. That being Legend of Heroes Trails of the Beginning, and it will be an ambitious title and turning point that will lead to the series' conclusion. Resident Evil 3 is in its finality of development, and it will be featuring more shifts than the Resident Evil 2 remake had to the original Resident Evil 2 game. And Darwin Project is headed to the PlayStation 4 in January of 2020, a free-to-play Battle Royale title that is already available as a part of the Steam's Early Access program, and it was received relatively well over there, by the way. 12,972 Steam user reviews and 81% positive on that, so that's pretty well received for a free-to-play Battle Royale game. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.